Hi guys, it's Sophia.
And Morgan.
This is something that you guys don't know, which is our names. Hi.
This is our first podcast ever.
Technically.
Well, yeah, technically. I didn't know if we were going to mention our dumped child.
We did a test run. That's what we'll call it. We did a test run podcast, and we liked having a podcast together, so we're going to continue.
Okay. Whether or not we actually show anyone the first podcast.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Well, it's been deleted, so that's...
Oh, wow. I didn't even have a chance. All right.
Okay, so basically what this podcast is a movie podcast where we talk about, I would say, 2 movies every week, and they're going to have to do with some kind of...
theme that we pick for the week, but with the emphasis on things that are... nerdy and scary, or fandoms, or vampires,
very much
Jedis,
like
wizards, elves, werewolves.
Exactly. Thank you for listing that. Thank you for listing all of the occults. Jedis included.
I mean, I haven't even got started on
Shadow
ghosts.
Hunters, specters.
We could really keep going. This is actually the whole podcast.
Just us listing.
Like in Forrest Gump, like with all the different ways that you can
I have to confess, I haven't seen all of Forrest Gump.
Apparently that's something that we'll have to
during Forrest Gump.
Well, I've seen the cinematic masterpiece that is Forrest Gump.
I don't understand.
I think
Does it get better as it goes on?
Oh, this is breaking my heart.
I'm sorry. Morgan and I have very different opinions about some things and very similar opinions on other things.
You just summed up any person ever.
Yes, but I feel like we very much get along in most of our... when we agree, mostly wholeheartedly, and if we don't, it's more like a divide.
Yeah, it's more like a quiet disapproval on my side, because I think there's a lot of movies that Sophia has to
I'm not
watch.
as well versed as Morgan, who is a film student that has graduated, and I am just a fledgling.
That's what I'm gonna call myself for the rest of my life.
A film
on my
student
tombstone,
that has graduated.
RAP.
Former film student.
That moniker has no expiration date. It's eternal.
Yes, that's very true.
Great.
So basically, that's where we're coming from. Morgan being someone who's graduated with a degree in film, and me being somebody that's looking to getting my degree. So
I work in the film industry too.
Yes, she also does work in the film industry. So there's our credentials for you guys, which mine is pretty much 0, but I have many opinions. Anyway.
Welcome to the internet. It's 2019.
Yes, exactly.
We have a podcast with opinions.
And who doesn't at this point?
All right,
all the comedians.
We should.
Anyway, introduction, yes.
Yeah, we should move on. Except for this one last bit, which is where we're recording the podcast.
Oh, Lord.
Which is in a garage. And I'm currently looking at, I'm going to make a list for you.
Oh, gosh.
A snake skin pelted to a wooden slab.
Yes.
A very large American flag.
Yes.
Robert De Niro smoking a cigar.
Scarface.
Some CBD gummies.
It's a portrait of Scarface, by the way.
Beautiful.
Yes.
And some bald eagles.
We got a scale. We got a couple whips. We have...
some dumbbells.
Some lawn darts.
So anyways, what I'm saying is it's going to get weird.
Yeah. Pretty much.
And patriotic.
Yes, so patriotic. I just love my country. And speaking of loving my country, here's some other things I love. My top 5 movies.
Oh, yeah.
Such a good transition. I'm so good at moving the podcast along.
I'm just going to ramble forever, and Sophia's going to be like the moderator.
I just got to rope it in. I'm the hostess. Okay. So, what are your top 5 movies? Just to give you guys a border, basics of who we are in terms of movie loving.
I feel like my list has a lot of classics and maybe one potential controversial category. But I would say my favorite movies, but more like categories of movies, because I have a hard time. I
find annoying.
Well, I find the question of listing your favorite movies annoying. So this is where we compromise. Lord of the Rings, all 3. That's 1.
I can get on board with that.
And then Spielberg.
Okay.
Namely Jaws, Goonies, Jurassic Park.
Okay.
Among E.T., among other classics. Midnight in Paris and Vicky Cristina Barcelona, which is
Was Tom Hiddleston in that movie?
No, I don't think so. But
was
those
Owen
are both.
Wilson?
Owen Wilson was in.
Yeah, Tom
Midnight in
Hiddleston
Paris.
was in that movie.
Was he?
Yes. I know this because he's
Was he
sexy and I follow
Oh my
his
god,
career.
was he F. Scott Fitzgerald?
Yes, he was.
Okay. Anyways, Woody
Him and
Allen.
Adam Driver.
Yeah. Wait, was Adam Driver?
No, he wasn't. I just follow their careers very closely.
All right. Sorry, you're really tripping me out. But
I'm
anyways, Woody Allen directed. I'm not here to comment.
Controversial.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm not here to comment on Woody Allen at all. I'm just here to say that he has made movies I liked.
All I've seen is Ants. So that's my only reference of a Woody Allen movie.
That's really depressing. Okay, moving on. The Royal Tenenbaums.
Which I love. We all know I love Wes Anderson.
Yes, and then honorable mention to other things I love. Oh my god. Which is Supernatural, Harry Potter, Star Wars. Okay, your turn.
Oh my god. Okay.
That was 5.
So, I have a top 10 list, but I'll narrow it down to my top 5.
I mean, I went way over.
In no particular order.
I went way over 5.
That's true. The Perks of Being a Wallflower, which I really enjoyed as a book and I thought was translated very beautifully into film and has some really good actors in it. I have Harry Potter number 3 written down here, but if we're just going to go with categories, I'll say all of Harry Potter is my favorite.
Okay.
Because I love Harry Potter. We also have Wes Anderson movies on our list. Mine is Fantastic Mr. Fox, though, because I really love the story and the animation, not the animation, the stop motion style. I love the technique that he uses. Like, it's great. And then another
horrible
stop
movie.
motion.
Hate it.
I love that movie.
Just kidding. It's brilliant.
Coraline, another stop motion animation. I really like the adult themes being translated into like a children's kind of like point of view. And then another childhood fave, Mulan, which I just love a badass woman. What can I say? Those are my top 5. I didn't go over. I didn't go under.
All right. Well, you win this segment.
Thank you so much. I'm patting myself on the back, on the shoulders. Okay. So here's another thing we're going to be doing. Not every week because sometimes there just won't be news for us to talk about, but we're going to talk about, I mean, I guess it's not even news. It's just like discussion topics based on things that are happening.
This is called the tea. We have opinions and we give them to you.
Yes.
Whether you like it or not, you didn't ask for this section, but we're going to give it to you.
Them.
Anyways.
Yes, I agree with that. Okay, so I would say our first piece of tea is
Piece of tea.
The hot goss, if you will.
I like how piece of tea actually makes no
piece of tea?
sense as a statement.
Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. So the first...
shot glass of tea.
The first shot glass of tea is that the directors... The Russo brothers, they're the directors of Avengers Endgame, and they have said that they haven't included...
Wait, 2 of them direct?
Yeah. They directed episodes of Arrested Development, too.
Okay.
Like, that's their background, just for your edification. Edification, yeah, that's the word.
Vocabulary.
I was going to say
of the day.
edumacation.
I don't know as much about Marvel as Sophia does. I like a good superhero movie every now and then, but that's like as far as my
This is
my
less
appreciation
this is
for
less of talking about the movie, more of talking about their technique to advertise the movie. They've said they went on record, I guess, that none of the footage that they've been including in their promotional trailers is going to be used in the actual movies
for Endgame.
And so I was wondering, what do you think about using... And they did that for Infinity War as well.
Okay.
So they kind of... Do you think it's false advertising, or do you think it's more of a way to hide the spoilery content of the film?
I don't think you can false advertise a Marvel movie.
That's
no matter
true.
For starters, you know exactly what you're getting, and usually, you know, it's not a surprise to anyone at this point. There's just been so many.
Imagine if like a normal movie did that. Like imagine.
Well, I don't think like. I mean, one, even quote normal. I mean, we mean like what non-franchise movie did
like
it?
A non-franchise.
I'd still be okay with it because.
Like imagine if E.T. did that and they were like, we're a family movie. Which it is, but like just didn't include the alien at all.
Well,
it's false
I don't
advertising.
think that's what, like... I mean, if you were doing that, then you're just trying to hide the fact that there's an alien in the movie, which would just be confusing more than anything. I don't think that they're trying to hide anything about the movie. I think it's absolutely fine. You can advertise or market anything however you want. I think one of the biggest reasons why I don't even like watching trailers is because I feel like I've watched half the movie. Like,
yeah.
I honestly, a lot of times I avoid trailers if I can, and I like to go into movies blind. So if anything, I'm pro this approach, and I don't think it makes sense for every movie, obviously.
Yeah.
But do I feel deceived? No. I mean, I think it's just silly.
I can agree with you to a point. I think that the 70s and 80s had like a really good way of advertising where they kind of, I've seen like commercials for movies and they didn't really say anything about the story or the characters. They just said like, I don't know, this is what is happening. And I think that you're right. Movies do really advertise the entire movie and let you know the entire plot without you having even seen it. So I think, yes, it's good to not include that information in the movie, but I think you could go about it in a different kind of a way. Like, instead of having commercials, especially with Avengers Endgame, you don't really need to advertise it, like, on TV, like people,
sure, but they're going
to go see it anyway.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, you still have to advertise it. Like,
yes, which is understandable.
And are we talking about like all movies doing this, or just Avengers? Because I think for just Avengers Endgame, it absolutely makes sense. Because I mean, is there anybody alive that doesn't live under a rock right now that hasn't seen a Marvel movie at this point?
Yeah, that's
and
true.
Also, my question is, this is like, for me, because I'm dumb. There's going to be more Marvel movies after Endgame, obviously, right? Like, they're just going to keep doing, like, single character or spin-offs.
They have a slate listed, and I'm pretty sure they're going to eventually do more team-up movies, but they're going to keep you in, like, separate worlds for the most part after Endgame. I think the next movie coming out is Spider-Man Far From Home. So it's going to be a Spidey movie. And then they have
Spider-Man movies, like, historically don't do well. I mean,
Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse did really well. My brother just watched that. He fucking loved it. Which I did too. Sorry for the swear. It was a really good movie.
Can we establish that this podcast does not have to be PG? I would die a little inside. I think I'm okay with the curse words.
Okay, good. I mean, I guess I can understand where they're coming from. I just think, especially for this movie, giving those kind of key narrative things in the movie and then saying they're not going to be in it is just kind of weird to include in the first place. I would have preferred if they did like disjointed things like from past movies and been like it all culminates to this instead of showing
Sorry, Morgan.
I was touching my phone and Siri started talking to me.
That's what happens when you're antsy. I just think instead of including so much bulk of narrative in the commercials, they could have done it a different way. But I understand where you're coming from. All right. Anyway, next bit of information: the Cats musical is making a movie. And it's going to include such talents as Sir Ian McKellen, Taylor Swift.
No.
Yes.
No.
Dame Judi Dench. And what's the late night host himself, James Corden.
I want to love this because I love Sir Ian McKellen, as everybody does. But
Cats sucks. It sucks so bad.
But like, Taylor Swift is not a good actor. And I'm not even saying
not.
this.
Did you see her in...
13, no, or the Valentine's movie with Taylor Lautner.
Yes, but there's this one.
Oh, there's another?
The Gifted or something like that.
Okay.
Oh, Meryl Streep was in it.
No. Okay, here's the thing. I'm not just trying to rag on Taylor Swift. I think that, she's successful and fine in other areas of her life. Acting is not something... It's like, when Kim Kardashian tried to, like, record like make a song.
She did.
Yeah.
I need to listen to that.
Oh, it's so bad. It's like the most auto-tuned, like DJ turn it up in the club, like play my favorite song. But it was just like, and then eventually Kim Kardashian was like, I have no idea why I thought it was okay for me to like do that or like pretend like it was like I was good at that. It was like such a disrespect to like all musicians everywhere.
Her husband.
Yeah. Well, it was a different time.
Yes.
But nonetheless, this is like that's very much how it's if Taylor Swift was a good actor, I'd be like, hey,
Machine Gun Kelly
yourself.
Was in the dirt, and he was really good.
Machine Gun Kelly. I think it's so funny that came up in a conversation about Machine cats. Gun Kelly. But either way,
I just work him into every conversation.
Either way. This sounds like a disaster I'm going to see. Or maybe it won't be a disaster. You know, I shouldn't be negative. Let's hope it's good.
Look, I'm waiting for the Wicked movie, and it's been in development for years and years and years. Well, and it's so disappointing to hear that the Cats movie is coming out before the Wicked movie. It's literally every song. This is a Twitter thing that I saw, and I saved it. Every song in Cats. I'm incomprehensible name. An adjective cat who loves to verb. That's it. Examples. I'm Shimble Shangles. A nimble cat who loves to ride trains. Like, that's literally the song. Like, there's a song that's like, we're jellicle cats, that jellicle cats. Like, that's it. That's all they sing. And I'm like, why is that necessary for the stage?
Wow. There's a lot of Cats hate going on here.
They're gonna be in a ginormous set.
On behalf of Cats fans everywhere, I am offended. Oh I'm not even a Cats fan.
Oh my god. This is the thing.
But I don't have a strong opinion on it. Have you seen Cats?
No.
Exactly.
I sold my tickets. I've listened to the entire musical, though.
Okay, I mean at least that's something.
To the entire musical. I was not going to waste my money after I listened to the musical. I sold the tickets, and now I'm going to the Phantom of the Opera, which is a better play by the same playwright.
Well, very exciting for you.
Anyway.
I'm only a little bit jealous.
Thank you. Why, thank you. I'm jealous of myself.
That's what I say all the time. When something cool happens, I'm like, I guess.
Yeah, I'm just so jealous of myself.
I hear about like my own life, and I'm like, wow, that's my life? Oh, I'm so lucky.
So interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's our tea. We'd love to know your opinions, Mary, if you're listening.
The only
person listening.
If your name is not Mary, please comment on this.
Oh my god, please. I should post this on YouTube too. We should get an audience going.
Well, ideally.
Yes, that's true.
That's the goal. All right, let's talk about these movies.
We watched two
How long have we been recording for?
17 minutes.
Oh.
So we're good.
Wow.
We're on sketch. I've been keeping time.
The last podcast went deliriously over for a long time.
This is why we had a test run. So both of the movies that we're discussing today are occults, and generally in science fiction, they have like clashed.
Both of them have werewolves in them.
That's very true.
Yeah. I mean, look.
Like, place in the very end.
I know. All right, but anyways, the movies are...
Dark Shadows. I'm sorry.
Wow.
I just cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, I can't read drum roll. I've lost it.
So the movies are Dark Shadows and Teen Wolf, and they are...
1985.
Yes. Thank you for listing the date. Teen Wolf was 1985. Dark Shadows was not in 1985. It was in 2012, but it's based on, I think, something from the 70s.
I'm gonna use my movie voice.
Thank you for using your movie voice. I can't wait to discuss this with you. So, which one do you want to do first? Do you want to do Teen Wolf or Dark Shadows?
Let's talk about Dark Shadows first.
Okay. So I'll take the lead on this one since I selected this movie.
That's true.
He's one of my favorite directors. He's hit some hard times lately.
And who is this?
Tim Burton, my queen and tragically divorcee of Helena Bonham Carter.
Oh, but I love her so much.
I literally love her so much.
She's the perfect human being.
The Golden Trio is in this movie, of course. Helena Bonham Carter, Johnny Depp, and Tim Burton. have come together to create just another masterpiece. They've done such works as Alice in Wonderland and
a lot of what else is there? There's like so many.
I was just listing the shitty ones, just to like give people like an idea.
I saw this Tim Burton exhibit at LACMA a while ago. Did you? That was so long ago. How many? 6, 7 years ago? It was excellent.
I did.
I felt like I walked into a Tim Burton movie.
I love his direction. I love the cinematography that he uses. Danny Elfman is always a win for me, and he mainly scores his movies. So
what was so interesting about the exhibit was they kind of like go through his childhood and
so they give you like a little bit of background.
And I like that. He's from my dad's side of the family, which is from Southern California, specifically my grandparents and my dad grew up in Burbank, California, and their parents and they're like third generation Burbankians, small town, studio town, like Warner Brothers. I'm just giving the context for everybody who is not familiar with LA, but Tim Burton is also from Burbank, and he talks so much about how depressing Burbank was, and like he felt like so trapped and squashed by the suburbs. I love Burbank. It was just so funny like going there and then reading that like Burbank depressed him so much he became Tim Burton.
Didn't he like base Frankenweenie, like the characters and the setting of Frankenweenie on that?
That totally. Now that you're saying that makes sense to me because I've seen Frankenweenie and those Burbank homes and yards and just such a.
It was very Burbank.
Yeah. And also, like, Burbank was, like, like a World War II town? Like, so it kind of, like, very much that older American kind of...
Like, Levittown style of living.
But if you have a house in Burbank, like...
I like the Burbank houses.
Once upon a time, you probably paid, like, $3,000 for a house that's now worth nearly $1 million. So congrats to everyone who's old in Burbank.
Congratulations. So that's basically where... the creative mind of this film has come from. So as I said, it's
depressing suburbs.
Yes. It's based on an old TV series. It's very much it's up his alley in terms of like whimsy and like darkness, but like and occult, but like including themes of like he always includes themes of acceptance and family in his movies. I've pretty much always I always like see that in stuff like Frankenweenie or Corpse Bride, whatever.
Can we just say how much like I love Frankenweenie because
you love it too?
I do.
Oh, and people didn't like it. I cried.
Like if my dog died and I could bring it back into like Frankenweenie, I'd be like hell yeah. And then like Frankenweenie was like so happy, not a scary zombie.
It wasn't like Pet Sematary.
No, I haven't seen that. Oh god,
you haven't seen the old one?
No.
It's very corny. Very funny.
Oh, man. Well, we did just watch Teen Wolf, so maybe corny is in the...
I mean, they're both pretty corny movies.
That's true.
Dark Shadows and Teen Wolf. I think it's like... Dark Shadows is done like seriously, but it
I feel like Teen Wolf almost makes fun of itself at some point, or at least I have to think that because
I would hope so because some of the decisions that they made are just very interesting, if not.
Yeah, that's true, and I feel like almost. Yeah, it really is.
You look so stressed.
I like have like my hand on my forehead, looking off into the distance, and but Michael J. Fox. It's just so, I mean, obviously, he's in Back to the Future, which is his, like, big, like, 80s movie. That's what he's known for when he's that age. But it's just fun to see Michael J. Fox at that age in a movie that is not Back to the Future.
Along the same lines of sci-fi, though, or occulty,
True. But, oh wait, we should talk about Dark Shadows. But anyways, I had never seen Dark Shadows until you told me to watch it.
So how did you like it?
I liked it. I thought it was a fun movie. There's like parts of it that I found like very funny. Like I think I mentioned this to you, but when he first comes out of the grave.
Yes.
And all the construction workers are there. He's like, "Oh, I'm terribly sorry, but I've been locked up for years, and
Yes.
you can't imagine how thirsty I am.
Yes.
And he apologizes to people before he drains
them.
and sucks all their blood.
Exactly. I appreciate that.
And, you know,
in
also...
a guy.
yeah. And I feel like, you know, all things considered, he's a pretty nice vampire. I mean, he
Yes.
does also, like, kill lots of innocent people. So,
Yes,
but
that's true.
You know, they gloss over that aspect.
Yes, I agree.
In the movie.
He
is a vampire after all.
Yes. I mean, you gotta be killing people if you're gonna be a vampire. There's no cutting around the corners. Unless it's like
Twilight.
Oh my god.
If you were an ethical vampire, you would sparkle and be Robert Pattinson and only drink deers.
You know what would be a good concept is if that was what you were like if you only drank from animals' blood, but like you would burn in the sun and be allergic to garlic and stuff if you only drank humans' blood. That would be a very interesting concept.
That's, I mean, I would much rather sparkle.
Yeah, I know, but like, you have to like deal with your thirst and be like, I need this human blood. It's too much for me.
These are the things
to get
that
away
we...
from it. Such a good plot that I have in my head.
I just want to see Twilight reimagined with Johnny Depp.
Oh my god.
Edward.
As Edward? Oh my god.
But like 21 Jump Street Johnny Depp.
I don't know about...
Not like... You've seen like... Or maybe you probably haven't, but like...
I would like Sleepy Hollow
the
Johnny
80s,
Depp.
like the... But
Have
like,
you
you know,
seen...
21 Jump Street, like when it was a TV show when he was like the teenage heartthrob. Did you know that 21 Jump Street is based off of... But did you know this?
No, I didn't know it.
The movies with Dave Franco.
I haven't seen them.
But you know the movies.
Yes.
They are based off of
a TV series.
A TV series where Johnny Depp got his start when he was very young. Well, I think it was in the late 80s, I want to say, this TV show was popular. Mm-hmm. And I watched it religiously in high school.
I'm so glad that you did.
And I just want everyone to know that I've seen every episode of 21 Jump Street ever. And I would love to see Johnny Depp. And
as Edward,
everybody
as
has
Edward
seen. Yes.
Oh boy. That would be a very interesting choice. I don't know if I would like to see that.
But anyways, other thoughts on the movie. Chloe Grace Moretz, is that how
Chloe Grace Moretz.
Moretz. All right, well, I tried. I was halfway there and saying her name correctly.
She was like a fairly new actress at the time.
It was fun.
Believe.
Yeah, I mean, I've honestly never really even seen that much stuff that she's been in, but
I think I have. She's going to be in the new Addams Family movie.
I would believe
she's
that.
Wednesday.
Well,
I should be Wednesday.
Well, based off of seeing Dark Shadows, obviously I think she'd be a great Wednesday because...
Did you think she did well? Because I don't think she did that well.
I don't think she was a great actress in Dark Shadows, but also I think a lot of it was just the super...
material she was given.
Yeah, the material and like the super... It was just a super stylized, directed... Yes. Like, I really don't think she... I have every, like, belief that she was just told to act the way she was...
I can see that.
You know, I don't think she's not good. I just think it was just the direction that she was given. But she just had this, like, pain, dull expression on her face.
All the time.
Like, just this kind of, like,
and the
teethy,
way she spoke, which I kind of understood when she turned into a werewolf, because she's always angry and she's dealing with the angst. But you should have given us hints before, like, she turned
it was almost like, I love, like, a
I'm a werewolf.
Facial...
Get over it.
Yeah, it was just... she was just this nothing character throughout the whole movie, and then at the very end... She just had one good line, which you just kind of paraphrase, but it was the one good moment that she had that whole movie, which is at the very end, when the witch and the vampire are fighting in the castle. She comes out of nowhere and is like, I'm a werewolf. Let's make a... But she's a teenager, right? So she's like, I'm a werewolf, okay. Let's not make a big deal out of it. But, like, in this, like, very, like, sassy teenager kind of way.
How did no one notice that she was turning into a werewolf?
I kind of believe it. I mean, in the context of that family.
I guess you're right. Okay,
like, she was, like, 14 and, like, basically alluded to the fact that she was sleeping around, so...
That's true. And it was
Or 15.
70s.
No, she was 15. Yeah.
So another really just, like, outrageous thing that this film does was the sex scene between the witch and
It reminded me of...
I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Why was that necessary?
So for context, if you haven't seen this movie, there's a sex scene where Johnny Depp... I don't remember his name. Barnabas.
Yeah, Barnabas. And
the witch.
Julia?
Was her name? Anyways, there's
Angie.
a witch. She's like the villain, and she's a scorned lover.
Yes.
And Johnny Depp did not love the witch.
Yes.
And so...
But he's just so sexually attracted to her, he just can't even keep his
But
hands
she's
off.
the one who turned him into a vampire out of revenge and killed his lovers. But anyways, he just...
She basically put a curse on the entire family. I guess we should say, so the plot of the film is that Johnny Depp's character came to America in like the 1800s with his family to start a fishing colony, fishing town, and his servant was a witch and she fell in love with him, but he spurned her, and so she to get back at him, killed his parents and then put a curse on
his lover.
Yes.
And put a curse on the family.
Put a curse on him so that all of his family and like anything that he wanted to do, all his ventures would like turn out badly. And then she turned him into a vampire and locked him in the ground for like over a century.
It was like 200 years.
Yeah. And so he's basically coming back to a modern quote unquote world in the 70s. And he has to basically deal with the repercussions of, I guess,
the rest of the movie is kind of like they're pitted against each other, where he's trying to rebuild himself, and she's still seeking revenge, / trying to make him love her.
Yes.
And there's a sex scene between the two of them where they are like literally like
rolling around.
Well, they're on harnesses,
flying.
So the actors are
so silly. It's
no, they can actually fly. They're flying around the castle having sex, like knocking into things, wrecking chandeliers and smashing furniture,
smashing paintings,
and like fucking on the ceiling.
Yes,
and
it's literally the most
basically a typical Saturday night for me.
It's so outrageous and so outlandish. I just was like, it's like 5 minutes of
I know it is
the movie.
Also. I think that's what's notable about the scene is not that it happens. It's just like so how outrageous. Long it is. Like it just goes and goes, and it's also such a loud scene. Like I had to turn really down. Is. Like the rest of the movie is fine, and then the scene comes on. I had to lower my TV volume by like 10 notches because it was so loud.
And I just have to say some things I really liked about this movie were the set design, because during that scene I noticed that Angie had like pop art kind of blood, of dripping blood on her walls, and I thought that was really interesting. And then I thought, the town looked very 70s, very fishing town, and I thought they did really well with making Chloe Grace Moretz's character's room seem like it would belong to her, things like that. I thought they did really well. But
I mean, it's not like a great I think
in terms of set design, I thought it was
what has
well.
its strong
cinematography
points?
I did not think was very Tim Burton at all.
No,
and
I
music
mean
either.
I almost like. I mean, it makes sense that it is a Tim Burton movie, but also I wouldn't watch him be like sometimes you just know, right? You watch a Wes Anderson movie, you just know. Yeah. A lot of times you watch a Tim Burton movie, you just know. Yeah. I wouldn't say this is one of those obvious examples of a Tim Burton movie, except for in
Helena Bonham Carter's character gives it away completely because of those like bright colors, the red and the blue, the orange. And then Johnny Depp's, like, dark character really gives it away. But otherwise, you would not know that it was a Tim Burton movie. Especially because instead of using Danny Elfman's score, which is always beautiful, he used, like, music from the era. And I'm just like, why is this entire movie a music video when you could be using such, like, a good score? Like, I don't...
There was really a lot of choices in the movie that were interesting.
Yeah.
I would say plot-wise, it's a fine movie. It's entertaining. I think that it's quirky, and there's parts of it that I thought were kind of funny.
Yeah, I agree.
Like there's like standout moments, but overall, I don't think this movie will be remembered as a great or a classic.
No, me either.
I think it's pretty forgettable in terms of like movies from this time period. Like, nobody's gonna look back and be like, oh, like, that was a great movie of, you know, this time. No. But it was definitely something I'd Redbox.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, 100%.
I'm going to give every movie that we talk about on this podcast my Redbox stamp of approval.
Okay.
And this gets the Redbox stamp of approval.
Well, I'll tell you what I rated it.
But it does not get the Apple TV HD rental approval.
Oh, I see.
So those are the distinction, by the way. All right, sorry, continue.
So for me, I really... Morgan doesn't like IMDb scoring, but I really like to have that just to, like, figure out,
what
you know, where I'm
think?
at. Yeah, I don't really look at it until I've watched the movie, but what I would have rated it was a 6, and it's rated a 6.2, so I think, you know, maybe like a 5.5, like 6. I really liked a lot of things, but then some of the things really detracted for me, like
the score.
Like the score, and then having some plot points just thrown in. I really liked that they had this kind of, you think that Vicky is going to be the main character, and then they kind of like subvert your expectations, but they still give her like a background story where she's like talking to herself, I guess, like her past self. I really enjoyed that. And I think my last note,
just to know, yeah,
I like her.
Okay, she literally is like, if you're not going to turn me into a vampire, I'm going to fling myself off a cliff, because that's emotionally stable.
This is my last note, and I said, I appreciate that he turned her into a vampire without bitching for 4 movies. like Edward. I really appreciated that, and
Can we talk about vampires at any point without mentioning Twilight? Probably not.
No, never. It's iconic, of course. We gotta talk about it.
Oh, man.
So I think that's a pretty good reference of, like, whether or not that movie did well in our eyes. I really did enjoy the movie. I think if you're not going to be critical about it, it's a good movie to watch.
Like I said, Redbox stamp of approval, man.
And so, yeah, I mean, and I think the same goes for our next movie, Teen Wolf, which... Morgan,
I picked Teen Wolf because I think it's significant just in terms of werewolf movies, and whether... I'm not here to say you should watch it because it's a great movie, mind you. I just think that there's certain movies we should watch because of their importance.
Classic.
Yeah, like, it's a cult classic, and it's influenced a lot of things that have come after it. And so I think for that reason alone, it's important to watch if you have not seen it. I highly recommend it. It's very much a movie of its time.
Yes. Oh, 100%.
And I think that's... what is it about 80s teen movies? Like, you say, oh, it's an 80s teen movie. Like, you know exactly what
there's
you're in for. There's
a big party.
Yeah, there's always, like, a big party. There's a guy trying to get the hot girl.
Team.
There's the bad guy. You kind of got, like, you know, like the supporting friend. And then you have the love interest who's the best friend, but not the hot girl. I mean, it has everything. And
it hits all of the marks.
And that's kind of beautiful.
Yes.
In its own way. And there's something about distinctly 80s teen movies that just kind of captures, like, youth. I'm not saying it necessarily captures youth accurately. I like, you know, always, I mean, life is not an 80s teen movie, but it kind of always captures, like, little parts of it and like, little funny things and the way the quirky actors and that kind of, like, all that angst. Yes. I just love it so much.
It reminds me of Saved by the Bell.
Oh, yeah.
Teen Wolf.
I mean, well, but that's what's funny about Teen Wolf is, like, it's literally just a regular 80s teen movie, except for one character happens to be a werewolf.
Yes.
The movie really has nothing to do with werewolves at all, except for the fact that he happens to turn into one at some point, and like, that's not even, like, and that's more even of a side point, because the only thing that's notable about his werewolfness is the fact that
he looks different.
Yeah, and it makes him, like, more popular.
Cool. Yeah.
Which is another hilarious thing about the Teen Wolf universe, is you kind of have to, like, you know, at least, like, most 80s teen movies try to take place in, like, a somewhat believable reality. Yeah. And I think what we were saying before is the people who made Teen Wolf have to have understood that what they're doing is a little bit cliche and ridiculous because everybody in the movie, if you have not seen it, he turns into a werewolf in the middle of a basketball game.
Yes.
And he just keeps dribbling and playing, and then he slam dunks, and they're like, oh shit, this werewolf is, like, really good at basketball. Mind the fact that he just turned into a werewolf right in front of our very eyes. Like, let's just roll with it. And then he gets to the hot girl, which also... the worst person ever.
So
she literally just goes like whoever's like most important at the time.
Yes, and she didn't even break up with her boyfriend. No,
that's what's so funny is there's a scene where he goes bowling with the hot girl and her boyfriend is like a couple lanes over, and you know what's funny is
which is like why is he there?
He's like the bad guy in the movie, right? But it's almost like
I feel for him.
Like, he's like, I would say, like, told from another perspective, the bad guy would actually be the victim in this circumstance. And, like, you know, everybody gives, I think his name was Mike or something. Everybody, like, gives him a hard time because he's not down with the werewolf. And I'm like, can you forgive the guy? You know, like, werewolf
my
boy.
girlfriend.
Yeah, like, but, like, literally ran from him. And what's so funny is she's like, and he's like, he asked the hot girl to dance, and she's like, no, I have a boyfriend.
Yeah. And they just had sex, right? Like, it's alluded to that they just had sex.
Oh, and I think what's so funny is when he alludes to him climaxing and he goes, oh, like that's like it's like this cutaway shot to like some other person in a different neighborhood, right? Or like or some so they have sex in the school in like the theater prop room or backstage, whatever. And it cuts to, like, I think the vice principal getting into his car in, like, the parking lot. And then you just hear this, like, you know, him wooing. Is that how you would say it? A wooing?
Howling? You sounded like Hermione in the Prisoner of Azkaban.
How did I forget, like, howling is the proper word. And wooing?
It's
like,
okay,
how dumb am I? Okay. I'm gonna keep going with a wooing just because that's what I've already been sticking with. It's been a day. Actually, it really hasn't. I just like to say that to excuse me. Excuse myself. But anyways, that was really funny. The whole movie was just ridiculous, and literally nothing happens in the movie except for he realizes that he doesn't have to turn into a werewolf to be himself. Yeah. That people can accept him just as a normal, regular boy and not as a special werewolf. But anyways, Michael J. Fox is great. I'm making fun of the movie, but only because I love it so much.
So my favorite part of this movie was Styles. I love Styles.
Is that the friend?
So much. Yes, he's the friend.
Oh my god, he's so freaking funny.
I love his t-shirts, and I have listed them all. Life sucks when you die. Obnoxious.
Just obnoxious.
And what are you looking at, Dick Nose? And then he has, like, other ones that's, like, Teen Wolf and stuff like that. But, like, those are my highlighted favorite t-shirts that Styles has worn. I think he's changed t-shirts, like, 3 times in one day between school when he was riding on top of the car.
It was a very t-shirt heavy movie.
Yes. I really loved how obnoxious he was.
I would love to get that Teen Wolf shirt that they print in the movie, though.
Too. I wrote that down.
It's a cute shirt.
I wrote that down.
They start in the movie.
Lots of marketing for t-shirts and merch thanks to Styles.
Yeah.
Like,
it's a real thing. But so much of I mean, God, that movie is just so freaking funny. We're talking about Styles. Yes. So on that note, when they're at, the big high school party, right, that they get to, Styles is like this master of ceremonies of like, like you'd think it would be like something like spin the bottle, right? But it's like in the movie, they create this strange game, but I think it was completely made up by Styles in the movie, where like, and it's still,
and people were down for it.
Oh yeah, well he was like super popular. He was a super charismatic, running around doing these like kind of like scandalous, whatever, fun games. And let me explain it because this isn't really making sense if you haven't seen the movie. So, at one point it cuts to the scene where like all the teenagers in a circle and Harry's
Harry Styles is in this movie.
I don't even like One Direction.
In his mother's womb.
Yeah, so, like, there's these two people on the floor covered in whipped cream with their hands tied behind their backs, like, squirming on the ground. But it's like, it never even explains why it is that they're on the ground covered in whipped cream, but everybody's, like, cheering. What was more things? So the game would be like he'd call a guy and a girl and they'd make them like do something and then
he'd have the guy pick. He'd have someone pick a name out of a hat and then the girl would list like whose name was on their note that they got. He'd have the girl pick a guy's name out of a hat. It was
some weird thing, but like at one point remember when he dumps like all the Jello down her shirt and then the guy starts like motorboating her to like eat the Jello out of her shirt. But it's like so like
80s.
I mean like I'm sorry, but, like, maybe that happened in a wild frat boy's wet dream once upon a time. Yeah. And it could have even happened in real life because I've seen some shit, but, like, definitely not in high school.
No. And then another thing I needed to say, that party was fucking ginormous.
I know, like this
literally it was like, bigger than the school dance.
And like teenagers, like oh my god, yes.
The school dance.
And it's like there's no way a party like that could have ever existed in any part of the suburbs. So it got shut down so fast. The police would have been like, excuse me. Like there's teenagers all over the lawn.
Yes.
But like it literally
How
looked like
how many kegs did they have? Like 12?
Like so many. It was like no high school party. I mean like. Maybe one party in all of high school's history of like I'm talking like 60 years of teenagers partying from like 1950s to now.
That was the one party. That was a rager.
Yeah. There's one party like that in all of history. Just one. We don't know who the legends were. We don't know when it happened or where.
It's just a myth.
I firmly believe that there was one high school party out there that was that lit. But that's it. Just that one.
I can agree with that.
And I was just like, I wish my high school years were like this. But instead I went to like 2 parties and I mostly just baked cupcakes with my like one friend.
Fun. That's
and
fun,
like
though.
went to theater and I was a little drama nerd.
I was a choir nerd.
Oh,
so
we hate those choir nerds.
I was friends with people in the drama club, though.
Now you see more of like somebody who would be in the drama club, not the choir. I'm surprised at you. Actually, this is new information.
I wanted to take photography, but I got put in choir instead because the photography class was full. So choir was my second choice. And
public education.
I have stage fright, like for like acting, so I just didn't really want to.
But like, who was like, oh, not photography, choir will do?
Because I sing.
Oh.
So I was.
I mean, yeah, I know you have a good singing voice, but you're just not a choir kid.
That's true. I really wasn't. We were singing like Gloria in Excelsis Stay and like all that. I was thinking more show tunes.
Yeah, or just like Edward Scissorhands the musical.
Oh my god, is that a real musical?
I don't think so.
I would die for that.
But that's what I'm saying is like that's more your brand. But okay, so another notable moment of this movie is when they're surfing on top of the van. Like, I
really enjoyed that.
Oh yeah, I mean they were just such fun.
Of The Perks of Being a Wallflower.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. I could see that. But like it was such fun sequences, but like in no way could you stand on top of a van going 35 miles per hour and like not die. And I like how at one point he starts like hitting the brakes and like
he doesn't fall.
Yeah, he doesn't. You're going 40 miles per hour down the street. You're standing on top of a van, just standing, quote, surfing on top of a van. and they played Surfin' USA. That would be the song. It's this like montage sequence of them.
They mentioned Redondo Beach in.
I know.
I just heard that when
spoiler alert, we are recording
in Redondo Beach.
Dun dun dun. Yeah. So in this weird garage in Redondo Beach.
It's a very eclectic garage.
I do like it. I don't mean to insult it. Weird is not an insult to me.
I think it's weird too.
So
speaking of weird, the SFX.
Yeah, and so also another reason why this movie is notable.
So strange.
It was all like prosthetics.
Yes, you could see the scar wax that was used on his face.
It was not great, but
it
was
the
for
80s.
the time.
Yes.
And it's just so funny because like he is like not at all a convincing looking werewolf.
No.
But like
He looks
it's like
you know the Geico commercial with the caveman?
oh my god,
he looks
yes.
like that. He looks
but like
more
not
like
as
that
good.
than a werewolf. Yeah. Which I was just like, is that the Geico guy? Like I can't tell.
Michael J. Fox or
Michael J.
Geico
Fox?
guy. Debatable. Also another funny scene when he's transforming in the bathroom and his dad's like knocking on the door. He's like, "Trust me, son. Like, come out." And he opens the door.
I thought there was gonna be a masturbation joke. Like I thought it was gonna be like he was touching himself in his.
He was
Trust
making.
me, son. I get it.
Oh god,
like,
that's so weird,
like
but also not unexpected for the 80s. But when he opened up the bathroom
they
door,
said fag in this movie, so I can't expect any less.
Yeah, well. We're, because every year, you know, society gets a little more woke.
A little more educated. Sometimes too educated. But yes, continue with what you were saying about the dad.
It was just really funny to, like, him open the door and all of a sudden, like, this, like, nerdy dad is like, "Hey, son, I'm a werewolf too." I know, he was so adorable.
Face.
But it's so funny how, like, and this is another example of this movie being, like, not all about werewolves and just about, like, being a 80s teenager. Is he's like, so Michael J. Fox is all, like, upset at his dad because he realizes that his dad is a werewolf and his dad has always known that he could possibly be a werewolf and he's just finding out in the process of him transforming.
Yeah.
So he's all upset. He goes, "I don't want to talk to you right now, Dad." He like storms his room and like slams the door shut, and it goes into his room. I was like, "This is so funny. Like this is just a typical scene, except
normal teen problems."
He's a werewolf. Like I mean, it's just so funny.
I really liked that they could just randomly transform whenever they wanted.
Right, and it stopped even showing the transformations. It was just like
he's fully a werewolf all the time now.
Yeah.
I would hate shooting in, like, all of the scenes. That would be the worst ever. I would not enjoy that.
You know what would be the worst?
What?
Oh, wait, you wouldn't know this because you haven't seen The Lord of the Rings.
Oh, no. Okay, so I really want to read the books first, and I know you told me to watch the movies.
Watch the movies.
I'm conflicted.
And I think any Lord of the Rings fan would actually give you the same advice, which is... and
if you're a Lord of the Rings fan and you're not Mary... who has probably not seen Lord of the Rings anyway. Let me know if you agree with Morgan.
I think it's one of those rare exceptions where the movie is every bit as good as the books, and the books are heavy reading, to be honest.
They're quite small, the ones that I have, but compared to like Harry Potter or something like that. But
I think I could read through all the Harry Potter books hell of a lot faster than I could read through I could read
maybe it's
Harry Potter.
It's more dense reading. It's more for adults.
I'm telling you, I could read Harry Potter start to finish like 3 times the amount of time it would take me to read Lord of the Rings.
I mean, I can read a Harry Potter book in a day.
So can I.
Okay.
I'm a power reader too.
Reference.
Yeah, I mean, like I don't even read that many books anymore, which is kind of sad. But when I used to read a lot of books, I mean, especially when I was in high school, I read a lot of books, which is like for like a decade ago, whatever. But I would just tear through books in like a day, kind of like you. But Lord of the Rings is, and I read Lord of the Rings in high school. And even that kind of took me a while for me.
Okay.
So.
Maybe I'll watch the movies then.
Yeah.
So, basically, to wrap up, since we're almost at the top of the hour, how do we feel about Teen Wolf? Do we think it stands up to, like, the caliber of corny teen movies today? Or do you think, no, it kind of falls flat?
It's a little bit not quite as good as some other 80s teen movies.
Was it as good as you remembered?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I knew what I was in store for. I've seen the movie before. It's been a long time since I've seen it. I just rewatched it for this podcast.
Right.
But, like I said in the beginning, I think it's a required viewing.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's the greatest movie ever.
Should watch it.
Yeah.
So, is it a Redbox movie?
I would say Teen Wolf would be more of like a... Amazon Prime or torrent. I'm gonna give this the Amazon Prime seal of approval.
Okay. So it was rated on IMDb a 6. I think I would rate it maybe like a 6, like a 5.5 or 6. Same as Dark Shadows. They're pretty equivalent in my head in terms of in terms of
Caliber.
quality and caliber. Yeah. I mean, maybe Dark Shadows, their CGI was actually, that was something I should have mentioned. I really enjoyed the CGI in Dark Shadows. I thought it was really well done. But otherwise, yeah, in terms of the content of the films, I think it's pretty much equivalent to each other in my mind.
Sure. I'll give you that.
So that's pretty much the end of our first official podcast.
Dun, 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 dun,
Woo.
dun, dun.
Thank you guys so much for listening to It's Thrilling, and I hope you guys or Mary returns for our next one.
That's it. That's our podcast.
All right.
Thanks for coming, guys.
Bye.